to teach you how to write cleaner and neater equations using either Pages, Google Docs, or Microsoft Word. I'm going to sort of give you the pros and cons of each, and you'll see that as I type them in here. There's a bit of a learning curve, but it's going to clean up and make our IAs look a lot nicer. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. So we'll start with Pages. The benefit of Pages for most of you is that you've got it on your iPad, and the way you edit equations is very similar between desktop, which is where I'm working, and on your iPad. So let me show you how to do it here. This is on a Mac. It's going to be really similar on a PC. Oh wait, no, sorry. Pages doesn't exist on PC, so just on one of the Macs, so borrow from me, or on your iPad. This might be the simplest solution for many of you. So let's do that. So we'll go Insert, come down to Equation. And one of the weird things about this is that you have to use this special math typing language called LaTeX, which you can see is right here. It means lazy text editor, which is it's a whole long story of where that name came from, which is not important. So anyway, let me show you what's a little bit funky about this. So let's say, as an example, you want to do the surface area of a sphere, which is the area. So type A equals, and then we want that to be, it's going to be 4 pi r squared. So 4 is simple enough to type. Pi, what you do is you tell it you want a Greek letter. So you'll give it a backslash and then type pi. And you'll notice that up in the top here, where it says edit equation, I'm writing in LaTeX. And down here in the bottom, it's going to show me what it's going to display when I'm done. So I've got my pi in there. Actually, you can get any Greek letter you want. You can even, if you really want, get a capital letter. You'd go capital Pi, and it'd give you the capital Greek for pi. So there's a bit of a learning curve here, but any Greek letter you want, you can just type the letter out in letters, in English letters, and you'll see it come up as a Greek letter in display there. Finally, we want area is 4 pi r squared, so you go r, and then you'll go caret 2, and you've got a beautiful looking equation there. The area of the sphere is 4 pi r squared. So I wanted to show you that. You can double click and see it again. So you can see some of the syntax. It's a little bit different than what you're used to. I'm going to do a little more complicated example so you can see more what I'm talking about. So we'll come down, we'll insert and do, let's do the force of drag here. So we'll just say drag equals. Now this is going to be a fraction. So we need to introduce fraction by typing backslash fraction, and you'll see that it's going to give us a fraction. Now you need to give it what's going to go on the top. That'll be in your first bracket using these kind of funky looking brackets. We'll put a 1. You'll notice already I've got a 1 on top of my fraction. And then we'll do the same thing. And it'll put a 2 on the bottom. So there I've got a half. So the equation for drag, I don't know if we've actually used this one in class or not, but it's 1/2 times the Greek letter rho, which is density, times area times v squared. So let me show you what that looks like. For the Greek letter rho, we need to type with the backslash rho. There it goes. So you can see it shows up here. Now we need, there's a constant in there, capital letter C, then the letter A, then the letter v squared. Now I put spaces in between rho, C, A, and v squared. You do need to space after rho, but C, A, and v squared, you'll notice it doesn't leave any spaces. And so you can really have as many spaces as you want, and it will still give you this nice looking equation for drag. Again, you can see we've got Greek letter rho, we've got a square root, or a square, a superscript, and we've got a fraction here. We'll go one step further and we'll combine some of these elements into a more complicated equation that you would recognize. So that we'll do insert equation one more time, and here we'll do the force of gravity. So F equals big G. Well, thinking ahead, we know that big G, M1, M2 are going to be on top, so we actually need a fraction here. So backslash get a fraction. And then on top, we're going to put everything we want to be in the numerator. So it'll be G. And then to get the subscript here, we'll go M underscore, which on my keyboard is shift underscore 1. And you'll notice I've got my G M subscript 1. Next to that, I'll type M subscript 2. And that bracket, that was what's on the numerator. Oops. And then right next to that, we'll put the brackets again and do the denominator. So that'll be R square, and then end my parentheses there, and then I've got a nice looking force equation. Now, of course, you can change the size of these. Come on over here and change it to make it bigger if you need to, make it smaller. And then one thing you could do as well is if you're like, for example, you want to calculate this. So let's say you want to know the surface area of a sphere. What you could do is copy this and paste it, and then insert what was your radius of your sphere. Let's say it was, I don't know, 10 squared, update it, and then you could put your answer, whatever that ends up being, 4 pi 10 squared as your surface area. So if you want to show a sample calculation, this is a really convenient way to do that. Now I want to show you how this carries over to Google Docs, which has some pros and cons. I will tell you, just from looking at it, you cannot do this text editing on the iPad for Google Docs. It has to be done on the desktop. So frankly, I don't recommend this too much, but I'll just show you quickly how you do this on Google Docs, and then finally we'll finish with Microsoft Word, which is my preferred way to do this. So what you do here is you go insert equation, very similar so far, and then what it's got here, it's a little different. It's got options for Greek letters, and you can also just use this same LaTeX editor style. So for example, let's do the same ones. Let's do, you want to say 4, and then Greek letter pi, and then we want to go in here and do, let's say for example, r squared. So I'd go r, and then advance one with arrow key 2. Okay, that gives me the area. Now I could also do this, I'll just hit new equation. I could do this with the same syntax, so typing the same LaTeX characters, but they won't show up the same way they did in Pages. So you won't see what's happening on my keyboard here, but I'll go area equals, and we'll go 4 backslash pi, and when I hit space it should insert a pi. There you go. And then we'll go r caret 2, and you get the same thing that you had before. So I'll show you just really quickly what this looks like if you're just typing on the keyboard. Again, you won't be able to see my keystrokes. I'll try to say them out loud as I do them. So we'll do the drag equation, new equation. We'll say drag, and that equals, and I'm going to say fraction. So if here when I type backslash frac and hit space, it will actually give me the fraction. You can see it now. And then I'll type 1, arrow key over 2, arrow key, or I think I hit return. And then I start typing, I want C, I want row, which it gives me a weird looking row, that's okay, A, V squared, and I'm done. So I was using the same syntax that I used before, it just doesn't show up as the actual LaTeX syntax on the screen. The final one, you can see we'll do Newton's gravitational law. So we need the fraction again. On top GM underscore 1, hit return to come back up to the line, M underscore 2, hit return to come back, and then we'll arrow key right there, and then R squared. So there you can see pretty quickly I've got 3 nice looking equations, and that's because I know a little bit about using the LaTeX syntax, which again does have a bit of a learning curve. I've done this quite a bit, so I made it look reasonably straightforward. Let's go to Microsoft Word. Before we do, quickly, Google Docs, the big downside is it's only desktop, and again, it's a little bit cumbersome if you're using these sort of text editor equation or math editor equation tools. I really think there's some benefit to learning just a little bit of the simple LaTeX, and I did show that to you over here. You can see them again if you need to look back at them. Finally, let's go to Microsoft Word. The huge downside here is you absolutely have to have desktop to do this. I don't know if this works on the iOS version of Word. I do know that you have to have paid for Word to have it on your iPad. So frankly, you should just borrow a computer and type this up on Word. Anyway, let me show you how nice the equation editor is on Word. What you can do here is you can, like I said, with the other one, you can search through all these symbols. This is the least complicated way to do it. So if I want to type the area, let's say A equals, and then it's got every symbol you could ever imagine. So if I click over here, I'll see pi show up. I guess I need a 4 in there, and then again you can do a script. You get like these boxes here. So I'd type R and a 2 there. So that would be under the script. Here you can get all kinds. So this one would be a subscript. This would be a subscript and a superscript, etc., etc. So that's the first one. The second one, if you wanted to do insert equation, you could do the drag equation equals, and here again you've got the tools laid out. It's very simple to do. 1/2 C, and then I'll just show you can search through and find Greek letter rho is right here. AV squared. Oops, I'll do it the simple way. Script, and then go V squared. And then finally, if you really wanted, you could do the gravitation. Go F equals big G. And then we'll go scripts M1, M2, and then this all would be in a fraction. So we'll copy that. Oops, and paste it into here. I guess I could have done cut paste, that's okay. And that, and all over that would be nope, r squared there. Okay, so there you have the three. Let me just very quickly show you how nice this is if you do a little bit of work and understand the syntax. So I'll go a equals 4 pi r squared. Beautiful. Let's do the next one, the drag equation. So drag equals 1/2. And you can see there it fills in the fraction. It kind of knows what you're looking for. C rho A V squared. Much quicker when you know the syntax. Takes just a little bit of practice. Finally, the Newton's gravitation. F equals G. I'll do parentheses here. So we can do the fraction G M underscore 1, M underscore 2. By the way, this is the same LaTeX syntax. It's just filling it in for me instead of displaying it and then revealing it when I hit like insert. So we'll go parentheses again, all divided by, oops, no, divide by, and then there you can see it gives me the fraction r squared, and we have our three equations again. So whichever of these you prefer, doesn't really matter as long as you get the equations, but this does look nicer than having the sort of sloppy typing when you're using just the regular text in a document like this. So let me know if you have any questions on using this. I'm happy to help you.